Well, we come to the end of National Defensive End Day, a holiday I just created earlier this afternoon. And October 3rd, henceforth, will be National Defensive End Day, man. It's time to show our dudes some love. Now, we've already made a video about Max Crosby. I think he's an unrealistic option. Then you guys saw the video about Aiden Hutchinson. I think that's the one I'm going to release next, although I released one about Trey as an After Dark video before. I don't really like to double up like that, but I think it's been at least a week, so it is what. Maybe I'll just use a different photo. We could just do that. But this is the option that I think is most realistic for the Detroit Lions, especially as the weeks of the season are passing. I think this is the guy that is most likely to become a Detroit Lion. But there are so many factors that go into play about this trade. Now, let's go back in time. Let's go back in May, made a video, came out from Adam Schefter through Twitter that Trey Hendrickson wanted to be traded. He wanted to have security with the Cincinnati Bengals. And, well, he wanted security. They didn't want to give it to him. And the Cincinnati Bengals, in my honest opinion, are going to be willing to part with Trey, but it really depends on their win-loss record at the time. Here's what I see. T. Higgins, they franchise tag. They can only use one per season, so they either have to, A, pay him, which they're not going to do because they got to pay Jamar Chase. Speaking of Jamar Chase, he is not paid yet, and he took out a $50 million insurance policy on himself, all right, in case he was hurt. Don't ask me how. I just saw it in the news, right? So they are going to either double tag T. Higgins or maybe use the franchise tag on Trey Hendrickson. Or the scenario that I see is their season will be mostly over, if not over at that point, and they're going to cut their losses and get what they can for Trey. And that's where the Detroit Lions could come in. Trey Hendrickson is my first choice for a number of reasons. The first reason is we looked at this last week, but let's take a look at it again. All right. And you'll see that connection in 2017. The team that drafted him is the team that our defensive coach and our head coach came from. Very familiar with Trey Hendrickson. So that's one. Now you might say, okay, he got a stinger last game. I don't think he got a sack last game, but he's got 3 sacks on the season. He's already tied for 13th in the league. We know our guy Hutchinson is number 1. But so connection is number 1. Now, let's look at where he ranks. Well, we already know that because he got 13 sacks, so we know that. So here is what I wanted to show you. We looked at this chart with Aiden Hutchinson. All right. Trey Hendrickson is the edge pass rush win rate directly under Aiden Hutchinson. You got Boye Mafe, who we didn't have to see Monday night, and then your guy Max Crosby, right? So Trey in one more game than Max has a few more win rates over Max, right? So either one, in my opinion, is a win-win. But why is this the most likely scenario in my opinion? 1, the draft connection between head coach DC and Trey. 2, his ability on the field. All right. But here's this is the turning point here. What will O? Now remember, he wants security. They didn't necessarily say financial security. It could be also contract security, meaning length of term. So right now, this is what he would have received at the beginning of the season. So again, these guys are paid on a weekly basis. So you've got 18 weeks. You could probably divide this, do the math, come up with whatever he would get per game. He's already played 4 games. Trade deadline. This is probably a trade deadline move. So we'll be on the hook. The trade deadline is week 9. So let's just say, 8, 9 games. So this number is going to get chopped, right? Then we'll have him under contract for next year. So we take care of Aleem, we take care of Hutch, and then we take care of Trey. right? He's guaranteed to be here next year. So you got the security of this year and next year. He's not going to stop the trade. He's not going to veto the trade, right? He's going to come to the trade because who doesn't want to play for Dan Campbell? So, and he knows Dan Campbell and Aaron Glenn, right? DC and head coach, come on, right? So that's what that is. I think that this happens, but what happens with Cincinnati? Let's take a look, because this, to me, it may be the biggest factor out of everything. So there's two ways to look at this. Let me go back real quick. Let's two ways to look at this. Cincinnati doesn't have to trade Trey because he's under contract for next season. Okay, so he's not even a franchise tag option because he's under contract. I forgot about that. So T. Higgins, they could slap the deal on T. Higgins and then pay Jamar. That's probably what's going to happen. But here's the reason, to me, that I could see them trading, because he is under contract for next year, is what is their record going to look like? They wind up holding off Andy Dalton and the Carolina Panthers. All right, so the bye week is November 5th, so that is week 10. It's week 9, the day before week 10, literally 24 hours before week 10 starts. All right, so let's go here. They've got the Baltimore Ravens. Now, I cannot stand the Baltimore Ravens or their fans, so this is a lose-lose for me. Like, I am torn here, but Baltimore is playing very well. So you've got the Baltimore Ravens. Division game, going to be tough either way. You've got the New York Giants, the Cleveland Browns, the Philadelphia Eagles, who are not playing the best football right now, the Las Vegas Raiders. But this is the end right here, right? This is the end. It's funny that there's a dude on this team that could be traded, that will be traded. So let's look at what scenario of win-loss record could we be looking at. Now, to give you a comparison, the Los Angeles Rams were 3-6 heading into week 10, week 10, 11, whatever week that was. They wind up going 7-1 over the rest of the season to go 10-7, made the playoffs, played the Detroit Lions. So 3-6 might not be the end of the world. 2-7, however, will be, in my opinion. Now, I think this will help him get traded. So you got the connection with Dan Campbell and Aaron Glenn. You've got the fact that he will be under contract. And I forgot to look at this. He's much more affordable than Max. This number is going to go down. And this number here, I think Max Crosby was 18 for 2025. This guy is cheaper, right? Well, Max was, I think, 20. His was higher. So I think his cap hit is 18. But so I think he's cheaper on the book. So this is another reason as well. But if we look at the Cincinnati Bengals, let's just, for the sake of this video, say that the Baltimore Ravens beat them. Now they are 1-4. Now, in my opinion, the season's over. But can they beat these guys? They could. So let's say they're 2-4. Can they beat Cleveland? They could, but that's a division game. So that could go, division games can go either way. So let's just say they take an L. So now they are, 2-5. Philadelphia Eagles, you have no clue who you're going to get. So they could be 2-6 or 3-5. The Las Vegas Raiders, this is the end right here. So you're talking about 4-5. There are a number of combinations, right? So let's say they're 4-5 after this game. They got Baltimore, the Chargers, Pittsburgh, Dallas, Tennessee, Cleveland, Denver, Pittsburgh. If you're 4-5 and you got this schedule, but it depends on so many things, because it also depends on your division. Right now, the Pittsburgh Steelers are 3-1. They're in front of the division. The Cleveland Browns are, what are they? Are they 2-2 or 1-3? But the AFC North is still up for grabs, even with a 1-4 or 1-3 Cincinnati Bengal team. So I think the catalyst to trading Trey Hendrickson is going to be what record they are. Are they in the hunt for the division to still win that? Are they in the hunt for, or is the season over? And if they, at 1-3, because 0-4, season's done. If they would have lost to the Carolina Panthers, it would be like, okay, you know what? We're pretty much done, because now we got to catch up to the Steelers. We still got to play them and all that other stuff, right? And then how many teams? There's only been one team to make the playoffs 0-4, right? So Cincinnati, one more loss, they're done, okay, at that point. But they won, they kept their hope alive. So I see Baltimore getting the dub, and it's any given Sunday, so it could go either way. So the record to me is going to dictate whether or not Trey, because he's already wanted to trade, but he's still playing through it. That's going to dictate to me whether or not the Cincinnati Bengals trade him away. In my opinion, heading into that week, we need to see what I say. They'll have play because their bye week doesn't come until week 12. So they will have played 9 games. I think maybe 2-7. 2-7. I think they could trade them. 3-6. They probably, but again, it really depends on what the division is doing. So for me, I think that Trey Hendrickson is the safest option. I think he's the most realistic option between him and Max Crosby. That's the guy that I could very much see the Detroit Lions bringing him back. I think you're kind of in a win-win situation because you've got him in. Now, with Max, you would have had 2 years. With Trey, you only have 1. You bring him in, and then this offseason, what we do is we extend Aleem McNeil if it's not done before. We take care of Hutch, okay, because we're going to do that. And then we figure out what we want to do with Trey. Give him the security that he wants, whether it's not. And then you could still bring some people in through the draft. So I'm thinking maybe, I don't know. We would already have a deal. So maybe Brad can extend him 2-3 years, for a total of a 4-year deal. That'll put him, when he was to be at the end of that contract. Let me see. Go to that would put him. You know Brad like him over 30 too. You know he loves him over 30. When did he turn 30? He was born, so he turns 30 this season. All right, so he'd be 31 next year. We brought in a 36-year-old Bruce Irvin. So if Detroit was to extend Trey past his contract with the Bengals, which he will be 31, you could give him a 32, 33. No, 33, because he's a free agent in 32. So he's already got 1 year. That's 1. You could give him 32, 33, 34. 3-year deal for a total of a 4-year deal. 3-year extension for a 4-year deal. He'll be 34 at the end of it. I'll take that. And we can still draft in the meantime. But what would they want for Trey Hendrickson? That's the question. What would you be willing to give up? I feel like they're going to try to get a first. I don't think they're going to get a first for Trey, even though they probably could. They probably could, man. But I feel like the team trading, for the team that is you're trading to, I think they have all the power because they either do it or they don't. You know, you're trying to, you start high and you work your way down. So that I'll leave that up to you. What would you be willing to give up for Trey Hendrickson? I don't know. This one is like, would you give up a first? Dude is a dog. Would you get a first? Would you give up a first for a dude that's turning 30, a first-round pick? Matthew Stafford got 2 firsts, and they went on to win the Super Bowl. That's all I'm saying. But he also had help, which is what we need too. So would I give up a first for Trey Hendrickson? I absolutely would. Let me know what you would think in the comments below. And plus, man, we supposed to be picking high. We supposed to be picking high, bro. We talking about 29, 30, 31, 32. Sure, take it. Take that first, man. I'll give you a first and James Houston for Trey Hendrickson. Done deal. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. This channel is brought to you by viewers, subscribers, and members just like you. You guys are awesome. Take care of yourself and each other. You could be anywhere else on YouTube, but you choose to rock with me. And as always, go Lions. I almost forgot to say that, and I cannot forget to say that.